Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. If you're just kind of feeling stuck in life, you know there's more out there for you. You could just feel it inside, but you're not sure how to get to that point. We're going to help you with that today. Doesn't matter where you've been, where you think you want to go to, there's a way to get there. Got to tell you, though, in my experience, and others will concur with this, you usually can't do it alone. You need somebody to walk that journey with you, hold you accountable, and just move you forward. And by the way, that's not your friend. They're great. Your relatives are great too. They're not trained in this journey. I'm talking about coaching, but this is radically different coaching. This is concierge coaching, hyper focused on you, your goals. And I found the coach. She is Kathy Biggs, and she's with us today. Hey, Kathy, how you doing?
Hey, Steve, it's so great to be here with you. I'm doing well. How are you?
Terrific. Terrific. I love your energy already. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you, sir. I love what I do. I love life, and I love for people to love life too.
Well, I detect most importantly, you found your purpose in life. And for many of us, if we ask that question, what's your purpose in life? Many of us will say, I'm not really sure, or they'll give an answer like, well, to be a parent. Well, maybe that is your purpose, but is it really? Is that one of the things you help people discover?
Yes, absolutely. I help people discover who they really are without the hats, without the obligations, without the titles, without all of that, and just come to a place of really understanding who they are because they've lost themselves in the process so often. And it starts so early in the journey that it's like we forget who we really are. So I
Yeah.
love when people start to see, oh, and things start to change.
How about fear? Because that is a big, I don't want to say mountain, I call them speed bumps. You got to get over fear of change. And a lot of what we're talking about here is making a change, whatever that change may be. How do you help people overcome their fear?
It really is pretty simple. Not it's it's what we think about fear. Fear is always going to be with us. It's part of the human experience. But what we do is we decide it doesn't demand or dictate to us what we can and cannot do. We just understand it's like it's part of the process. So we befriend our fears and we start looking at them for what they really are. Is it a life-threatening situation and fear is trying to save me from something? Okay, we'll deal with it that way. But if it's a fear of the unknown, we really need to come into a place of getting some understanding and do it afraid.
Do you feel that that fear, the fear of the unknown, is in us from way back? It was placed in us from, I'm not talking about the evolutionary fear, the reptilian brain that they're, to protect you and you're always on alert. I'm talking more about when you were a child, 0 to 7, and stuff came up. But it could be even a little tiny thing, but it's something that was programmed in you. And now you're still running that program as an adult.
Absolutely. We are so incredible. We're like the most incredible computer, and we have such an incredible memory, and we tuck things away and we make agreement with those things. And then those things are like in the hard drive of a computer, and they're controlling things, and we're not even cognitive of it. We don't have a clue what's going on, but we have patterns and ways of doing things that aren't what we would love, and we are controlled by the fear. And it's the nervous system. We got to work with the nervous system to change it. And that's a process. And it's possible for anyone. It's not something that, oh, somebody else can do it. But it's this knowledge. When we start to understand things, and then we just really get a clarity on how to deal with it. But if we don't understand how to work with it, it controls us.
Yeah, and it's different for everybody. My fear is different than yours, and the next person, the next person. Tell us about your journey, Kathy. How you got here to the point where you're helping others move their life forward.
Okay. Well, my journey is kind of diverse, but the thing about it is I came from a place of a lot of challenges and a lot of trauma growing up, losing parents early, losing siblings. And what happens is you develop fears and then you develop habits. And the thing about it was what I mourned most of all, and I may get a little choked up, Steve, because this is my why. What I mourned most of all when I lost my family was the gifts and the talents and the things they could have done, because they were so gifted and so talented, but so often fear kept them from having any confidence or trying new things or getting the help they need. And they stuffed it. They stuffed it, those emotions, and covered it up. And that's what's really wrong with a lot of people. They just keep ignoring those desires to do something, or, berating themselves and beating themselves over past failures or mistakes or whatever, instead of let's work on this together. Let's get you going in the right direction, because my heart's desire is that nobody go to the grave with their gifts tied up inside of them. I want to see them come to fruition and them to really start to enjoy their lives.
Yeah. I mean, we were given them for a reason, and that's to enhance others' lives. So why not use them? What do you say to somebody who has ideas and life is getting in the way? I've got this business idea, I've got that one over there, and obviously I can't quit my job. I got to, keep this over here, and then there's this going on, and then that going on, but that's getting in the way of even working on a business plan, whatever it might be over here. Maybe it's time management, maybe it's fear. Yeah, fear of failure, that's there too. How do you get them to tackle that and start chipping away at their dream or their idea?
Okay. It's really welcome to the human journey. It's going to be that way. There's always going to be a certain amount resistance when we start to try and change and move in another direction. And it's not so much what happens, what's important is how I frame it, how I take it in and decide on these things. When things happen, it's like, well, I guess I shouldn't bother to do this anyway. I'm too busy. I'm this, that. Or it's like, no, this is part of the process, and I'm just going to learn to pivot and adjust. And it'll work out as long as I keep moving forward. If it's a baby step, that's fine. But I keep moving forward, and I keep myself surrounded with people who are moving forward. Because, like you said in the beginning, it's easy to get with people and just like, I tried that and it didn't work and blah, blah, blah. But the part of us that wants to move forward is not going to go away. So we need to
Mm,
really undergird each other and keep each other moving forward, and know that that's normal. When we normalize something, it doesn't have the same amount of power. When we start to understand it, normalize it, it's like, okay, well, that happened. Now I just pivot and go to the next thing and just keep going. It's like that the little book of the little train that thought she could, or whatever it is. Just, I think I can. I think I
sure.
can. I think I can. And it's like, you have to have that support to keep you going, because the mind's going to tell you otherwise.
I've adopted it's actually a kids movie in the last few years of my journey. Finding Nemo, Dory. Just keep
Yeah.
swimming, just keep swimming, and that's how I pilot. Just keep moving forward, no matter what it is. Yes, there's something over here going on. That just keep moving forward. Don't stop. It's doesn't mean you avoid these things, but it doesn't stop you. You deal with them as you're swimming forward. Uh, because once you stop, you might as well just stop totally. Nobody wants to do that. Yeah, I love what you said when I gave the example of somebody's got something over here that they want to work on, be it business idea, whatever it is. You keep ignoring it or coming up with excuses to not tackle it or whatever it might be. But like you said, it's going to keep gnawing at you. It's going to be beep beep beep. Hello, knocking on your door, knocking on your brain. It's there, and it's why let it go? I believe we get those feelings, we get those passions, whatever it is, for a reason. Probably because it's a good idea and it supports you, right?
Yes, absolutely. And there's, like I said, there's so much value in each and every one of us.
Yeah.
But it's really important that we that we stay focused and we stay committed to the way it has to be done. You can't do it your way. I couldn't do it my way. You know, the old Frank Sinatra tune. I did it my way. It didn't work my way.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. We keep trying to do it our way instead of saying there is a way that this works, but I need to know and find out how this works and then do the things that they did to get the results that they got. It's that commitment level too.
What do you say to people who compare coaching to therapy? It's radically different. How do you compare them?
You know, I've had a lot of clients who've gone through counseling and therapy and all of that, and it has its place. But a lot of times it kind of falls short because we're dealing with what has happened, not going forward into what we would love and start moving in the direction and learning new tools to keep moving forward and to really work on the step-by-step process. So it's not, you know, we may be learning how to deal with some behaviors, but we're not so much oriented towards creating the vision of our lives that we would love. It's just kind of dealing with stuff. And it's like, you know, I deal better with it. I don't drink anymore, or I don't, you know, do this anymore. But it's like, but are you really going in the direction you want? You need to have support. Nobody does this by themselves. And we need to understand that. So there's a difference. There's a difference. And coaching and counseling has its place. Therapy has its place. And I thank God for all of it. But coaching takes you to the next level.
Yeah. In my experience, a lot of times with therapy, and it's fine, but you keep going back to the things, even the next session. So how you dealing with that? You know, whatever that was. There's usually not forward momentum to
Right.
move you in the direction you want to go in. It's impactful, but coaching is it truly is radically different. Now, you're radically different in terms of concierge coaching. How do you define that?
Well, concierge coaching came to me. It was a funny thing. Just through working with so many clients over years and watching patterns, there's a place where, you know, they have the tools, they know the programs, they've read the books, they know where they want to go. But when you get in the heat of a situation or there's a pivot or a switch, it's like we short circuit in our minds and we don't know what to do in that moment. So I created concierge coaching as a support system that is real time. So, you know, I have clients going through all sorts of different situations, health challenges, they're going through doctors and things like that. I have people who are building businesses, and every day we're experiencing something. And sometimes we hit something that really rattles us. And so concierge coaching is really like you're just a touchstone. Okay, I'm in this situation and I'm getting one client was like, and I'm getting really ticked off. And, you know, she was just like, what do I do to bring this back? And in that time, it's through the relationship that we've built that I know this person, you know, pretty well, that I can say and hold up a mirror to, okay, did you do this? Did you do that? Well, no, I didn't think about that. Okay, well,
Mm,
let's go back to what we know to do. This is what you need to do in these situations. Here's the tools. You have it within you to do it. It's just knowing in that we get rattled, you know, or we get frustrated, we get a diagnosis and everything goes out the window if you get a diagnosis or a divorce or what, you know, things just, you lose sight of how to deal with things. And concierge coaching just brings you back center, brings it all back into understanding that we can handle this. It's not a big deal. You're going to go to the next level. You will just handle this rightly with the tools and the ways we know how to deal with things. And and then I get a call back and this is so amazing. I appreciate it, you know, and that is what I love more than anything, because holding their hand as they walk through some really tough stuff. And then them realizing you have the potential, you have the ability, you just need to be reminded of that as you go.
mm. The aha moment, I'm sure you've experienced it in your life where it's like, oh, that's why that's happening, or that's why that's holding me back. Can you think of an aha moment, you personally, where something came clear? You know, I call it connecting the dots. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Mhm.
Anything stand out for you?
An aha moment. I guess when I first was presented with coaching, I could see what wasn't working in my life. And it was like, oh, I get it. I had all these, principles and these things down, but it wasn't until somebody put it in order and showed me how to apply it real time. I knew the theories and everything, but then I realized, oh my gosh, this needs to be taught to everybody on the planet. And I think that was my aha moment. I really
Mm,
did.
wow. How long have you been coaching?
9 years.
Wow, good for you. Yeah. Uh, it seems to me that you have found your purpose. This be it. Yeah. Like the passion shines through.
Yeah. I love
Mm,
people and I loved being part of their process and helping them to. The ripple effect is so important, Steve. When you talk and you're dealing with one person, you're not just dealing with one person. It's going to have an awesome ripple effect to generations, their children, their family, their
mm,
workplace, the culture they work in, the community, the ripple effect. And then also on the changes that happen internally show up in our physical bodies.
mm.
We start, things stop, we stop dealing with, stress related problems and sleeplessness and distraction and all these things that are just plaguing us, keeping us from going forward. When we start to deal with these things, they start to lessen their grip on us, and our health is improved and our attitude is improved, and it's noticeable everywhere we go. And
Yeah.
so what you're seeing is just the product of doing the do. I did the work and this is what you got. And I am so thrilled that I get the opportunity to help others do the same.
It's a great point you bring up that one person changing their life in the direction they want to go in changes the lives around them, but also changes their not only outlook, but their health.
Yes.
I don't think we realize how our bodies are so affected by our environment. A lot of us, well, it's genetic. That plays a piece of it, but a very small piece. The rest of it, and in my journey and understanding and learning and studying all this, that it gets into the cellular level of our bodies, stress and all this other stuff that we go through. Our bodies are listening. It knows what's happening and it's reacting and it's trying to tell you something. You got to cut that stress, or you need to, be happy, or whatever it might be. Yeah, even joint issues. You know what? You could probably eradicate that if you had a different mindset. Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be quick? No, it's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to happen.
Absolutely. And really, that was part of my journey as well. I had come down with two autoimmune diseases, and the doctor, because of the stress, because of all the obligations and the going, and I don't have the time for, and da 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 da. The doctor said to me, "You need to reduce stress in your life." And I looked at him and like, how do you do that? Hello. If I knew how to do that, I would have done that already. But it wasn't until I started to work with someone who showed me how to focus and shift my thinking around my life and my circumstances that I could let go of some things and repattern the way I was dealing with things and take responsibility that I had allowed some things in my life that, were causing me problems. And it
Mm,
wasn't until I came to the place of having that, you know, come to Jesus kind of moment. It's like, look, you need to make some changes. And that's looking at myself in the mirror. And that starting with self, was really key, because it was like I had so neglected and abused my body in so many ways, trying to take care of everything. And I really needed to pay attention to the symptoms, because the doctor said I'd get more. And I was sitting in the office and I looked at him and I said, "Thank you for sharing, but that's not how my story ends."
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I made a decision. And from that decision, it wasn't easy always, but 9 years later, I'm in better health than I was back almost a decade ago. And I jump out of bed and I'm like, gosh, it feels so good. And it's amazing. But back then, before my eyes opened, it was like, this is going to hurt to put my feet on the floor. And I'm so tired. And I just woke up.
Mm. It sounds like boundaries were
Mhm.
important for you, and I'm sure they are in general, and especially in what you offer, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have to understand that some of those patterns we talked about when we were young and they got instilled in us. Sometimes we don't put healthy boundaries up because of the fear of judgment or the fear of being thought less of or just whatever your experience is. And it's not until we understand that we need to put our own oxygen mask on first before
Yeah.
we can help or do any good for anybody else. And instead of trying to please or do because of obligations and stuff, we put it in proper order, proper perspective. And it's not selfish. A lot of people think it's selfish, or, they get a fear of being thought of, the wrong way if they put themselves first. And I'm not talking pampering, going to the spa and doing all the spa treatments. That's great. No, I'm talking about really having a really close, good relationship with yourself.
Mm,
And that's really an important piece to this.
that's an aha moment.
Mhm.
Yeah. I believe that we don't know ourselves. Most of us, we don't really know the real us. You know, we take on personas, yeah, we project certain ways in certain situations, but until you really figure you out, you're going to have more challenges and struggles. Yeah. And I don't mean this in a negative way, because it took me, just we're talking about self-care 5 years ago. I remember it vividly. I would go to the gym. I would be there for like 15 minutes and then feel guilty. Like I really need to go to work because I got a family support. Blah, 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 blah. It
Mhm.
didn't hit me that I should be spending an hour at the gym because that's making me better, which will make it all better. And I'll be totally transparent and honest here. It was only 3 months ago I realized something else. And this is the guilt thing. And friends would tell me on a Saturday or Sunday morning, I'm laying in bed. It's 11 o'clock. I'm like, you're what? You got a whole day. What are you doing? "Oh, I'm just watching TV, just having breakfast." I'm like, I'm always on the go. I'm like, I couldn't compute. It just didn't go together. Like, I don't want to be thought of as being lazy. But then
Right?
I had the aha moment and realized, oh, wait a minute. When you're doing that, you're actually doing something because you're recharging your body. You're giving your mind a chance to think. So now I pick a Saturday or Sunday and I stay in bed till maybe 10, maybe more. It depends on the day. DoorDash breakfast, have a nice large cup of coffee, just chill. Just do nothing.
I love
But
it.
but I didn't realize that doing nothing is actually doing something. That's three
Absolutely.
3 months ago I figured that out.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad
Yeah.
you
Thanks.
did. Rest is a weapon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not just resting the body, it's resting this. Just saying, for a season, we're just going to slow down and just let it go. And that's not something that comes natural, especially like you're a wonderful successful man. That didn't happen overnight or because you let things go a lot. You were on it, and that's why you were trained. You were trained to stay in that keep moving forward. But there's a balance to everything.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We swing the pendulum one way or the other too much, and it's like we need to come to center and really learn to put all these pieces together so that we can really have healthier, happier lives.
You said it best. I can't say anything else. It's the truth. It's
It
the
is.
truth. And balance is such a key word. You think of the tires on your car. If one is out of balance, out of alignment, the car is going to wobble a little bit. And that's your body. And what are those things? Could be sleep, could be nutrition, could be exercise, could be spirituality. If all of those things aren't in sync, your body's going to be out of sync. And I believe if you put all that stuff in there in the right balance, you won't get ill. You won't have typically disease. All of that stuff probably won't affect you. And by the way, it was stress. One of the reasons why I was forced in a way, I forced myself to take time on the weekend just to, maybe chill out if you want to call it that. Wonderful talking with you. If somebody's dealing with some of the stuff that we're talking about and wants to connect with you, how do they do that?
It's easy peasy. My company is AriseShine. That's AriseShine.com. Or you can just go kathybiggs.com, Kathy with a K, and it'll take you there. But I would suggest you call 580-704-5811 and leave a text message or leave a message and do something today for your health, for your family, for your life, for your future. If it's not with me, find somebody to really latch on and start making the changes now. Because the company is AriseShine, because we've all had a lot of stuff happen. And it's like the phoenix rising up out of the ashes. It's
Yeah.
like it's time for us to shine. It's time for us to shine. So it's AriseShine.com.
You said the word before, now, the power of now. I'm reading that book. It's now. Why do you want to wait? Life is short. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. That's where anxiety comes in, worrying about tomorrow. I don't know if you know anybody that can tell us what's going to happen in 5 hours, 5 weeks, 5 days, 5 years. I don't know anybody that can, with 100% certainty. Nobody can. So harness the now and shine. Kathy, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Steve. It's been such a pleasure.
It has. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.